From Sandy Hook to Orlando to Dallas and so many other places, these tragedies tear at our soul. And so do the incidents that don't even dominate the headlines. Just this past Sunday, a young man, Seth Rich, who worked for the Democratic National Committee to expand voting rights, was shot and killed in his neighborhood in Washington. He was just 27 years old. Surely we can agree that weapons of war have no place on the streets of America.
In July 2016, then FBI Director James Comey said Hillary Clinton and her staff had been extremely careless in handling classified information, but recommended no criminal charges, stating there was insufficient evidence of intentional misconduct or obstruction. On July 10th at 4:20 a.m., Seth Rich was murdered in a botched robbery. Vanity Fair, January 24th. Hillary Clinton cannot be stopped for the second time in 8 years. Hillary Clinton sees the Democratic nomination being pawed by a charming interloper, like a priceless vase grabbed by a panda. She'd prefer to shoot the panda, but that could mean breaking the vase, and onlookers would object. Seth Rich was born on January 3rd, 1989, in Omaha, Nebraska. He grew up in a close-knit family in Washington, D.C., where he excelled in academics and was known for his vibrant personality and strong work ethic. Seth Rich attended the Catholic University of America and graduated in 2010 with a degree in political science. Post-graduation, Seth Rich worked for the Democratic National Committee as a data analyst, where he contributed to voter data management and outreach initiatives. He was passionate about political engagement and believed in the importance of civic participation. Seth Rich was also an active member of his community, known for his friendliness and dedication to friendships. He enjoyed hobbies like playing the guitar and was often involved in local theater productions. On the night Seth Rich was murdered in a botched robbery, his wallet, money, and watch were not stolen. In 2016, WikiLeaks published thousands of emails from the Democratic National Committee and Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta. This included emails that were believed to be obtained from the hack of Clinton's private server, which were politically damaging. John Podesta and Clinton's team discussed ways to sabotage and frame the more popular candidate Bernie Sanders by putting him in a less favorable light, portraying him as lacking the necessary experience and electability to win against Donald Trump. They questioned whether he could appeal to swing voters. The night Seth Rich was murdered, patrons of the bar he was at said that he was unusually drunk, despite staff noticing he was distressed and something was bothering him. Contrary to his normal, well-mannered self, Seth Rich left and headed to another bar, which he would never make it to. Leaving around 2 in the morning, the journey home would have taken Seth Rich no more than half an hour, but his location is unknown until 4:20. He was on the phone with his girlfriend, Kristen Wilkerson, who claimed she heard scuffling noises at the other end of the line. Seth Rich was shot twice in the back, with bruises to his hands, knees, and face. Apparently, no DNA has emerged from that altercation, despite the official story being a confrontation with his attackers. He was taken to the hospital and was hanging on to life until 5:57 a.m. Police claim Seth Rich was robbed, citing robberies and muggings in the area. Despite this claim, from his wallet, phone, and cash on hand, nothing was stolen. At Washington Hospital Center, an unnamed fourth-year resident posted anonymously online, explaining Seth Rich was shot in the lower back, sustaining injuries to his liver and bowel. The resident claims Seth Rich did not have any major vascular injuries, and he had seen many worse cases in which the victim had survived. After this, no one, bar law enforcement officers and the attending physician, were allowed to see Seth Rich. The physician, Dr. Jack Sava, is an open supporter of Hillary Clinton, even donating more than $2,700 to her 2016 campaign. Dr. Jack Sava was also on John Podesta's guest list for a Democratic function. Dr. Jack Sava visited the White House 6 times before Seth Rich was murdered. His wife had visited even more at 23 times. John Podesta's brother, Tony Podesta, is one of the most well-connected lobbyists in the United States. His ex-wife, Heather Podesta, serves on the Washington, D.C. Police Commission, alongside Kathy Lanier, the police chief of Washington, D.C. at the time of Seth Rich's murder. Initially after his murder, Seth Rich's parents seemed desperate to get to the bottom of his murder.
If it was a robbery, it failed because he still had his watch, he still had his money, he still had his credit cards, he still had his phone. So it was a wasted effort, except for we lost a life.
Their tune quickly changed when their family was appointed Brad Bauman, a DNC lawyer who works with the Pastorum Group, which leverages extensive experience in political campaigns, public relations, and media strategy. Bauman is known for his ability to craft compelling narratives that resonate with target audiences. He put out the statement that anyone who questions Seth Rich's murder deserves a special place in hell. The new attitude of Seth Rich's family is that any claims Seth Rich was murdered is a harmful conspiracy, and it was really just a botched robbery.
WikiLeaks never sits on material. Whistleblowers go to significant efforts to get us material and often very significant risks. As a 27-year-old works for the DNC, who was shot in the back, murdered just 2 weeks ago for unknown reasons as he was walking down the street in Washington. So
that was just a robbery, I believe, wasn't it?
no, there's no finding. So
What are you suggesting? What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that our sources take risks, and they become concerned to see things occurring like that.
But was he one of your sources then? I mean,
we don't comment on who our sources are.
but why make the suggestion about a young guy being shot in the streets of Washington?
Because we have to understand how high the stakes are in the United States.
But was he one of your sources then? I mean,
Seth Rich had 2 online accounts confirmed to be his, MegramLock4 on Reddit and Panda4 Progress. As an example of his character, on his MegramLock4 account, this is one of his posts from 2014.
What is a good gift for someone getting laid off? I know a lot of people who are being laid off. Contracts are ending as the U.S. political season comes to a close. It goes with the territory. But some thought they'd be held on, and others are just starting out so they aren't used to it. Specifically, my girlfriend was just told, this is her last week, and though she was already looking for a new job, she's bummed out. I want to get her, and maybe some others, a pick-me-up gift that also helps motivate them to get back out there. Anyone have experience or suggestions? Right now, I'm thinking X months free on Pandora/coffee gift card.
Seth Rich was known for his love of pandas. According to his mother, he would take any opportunity he could to throw on his panda suit. German internet mogul Kim Schmitz, known online as Kim.com, released a statement in 2017. The CEO of Megapload, or Mega, claims that Seth Rich contacted him anonymously to set up a US version of the Internet Party, and that Seth Rich was involved in the leaking of Democratic Party emails to WikiLeaks. .com has offered to testify to this in court if provided safe return passage from New Zealand to the United States. I know this because in late 2014, a person contacted me about helping me to start a branch of the Internet Party in the United States. He called himself Panda. I now know that Panda was Seth Rich. .com wrote on his website, quote from John Podesta from the WikiLeaks email leak. Call me crazy, but I think if we can survive the next month, it will be possible, maybe even straightforward, to get our arms around this once there is an actual campaign. I'm definitely for making an example of a suspected leaker, whether or not we have any real basis for it. Vanity Fair, January 24th. Hillary Clinton cannot be stopped. Hillary Clinton sees the Democratic nomination being pawed by a charming interloper, like a priceless vase grabbed by a panda. She'd prefer to shoot the panda, but that could mean breaking the vase, and onlookers would object. Why do you prefer to shoot the panda, Hillary? Seth Rich was an American hero. We cannot blame the family for taking the stance they have. The pressure on them from the system must be immense. The blame for the actual murder of Seth Rich could be attributed to many. The initial attackers, Dr. Jack Sava, Washington PD, but most of all, Hillary Clinton, who cannot be stopped.
I don't know why that's funny. Did you have any in-person briefings? I don't find it funny at all.
How important is it for there to be a woman president in the United States?
Just 3.
Just 3? I can't possibly do that. I mean,
You got your damn emails. But there are a lot of people who are not,
well,
including.
His name was Seth Rich, and he died for us.